Hey everybody, welcome back to PathMonk Presents. PathMonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. PathMonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50% by adding PathMonk to your website in seconds, letting the artificial intelligence do all the work, and increase conversions while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmonk.com. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of PathMonk Presents. We're really excited for today's episode because we've got Pranav Jain, Growth Marketing Manager over at Wati.io. Pranav, how are you doing today?
All good, Kevin. Thanks for hosting me. It's
Of
really been a pleasure.
Of course, we're
Uh,
really looking forward to chatting with you today. So, before we dive too deeply into anything and figuring out what you guys are doing from a marketing perspective over at Wati.io, maybe you can give our audience a little bit of an idea. What is Wati.io and what are you guys up to over there?
sure. So Wati is nothing but a conversational platform, right? It helps in customer engagement or conversations. It's based out of a WhatsApp API or a Meta API, right? Now, before we dig into what Wati does, we first need to understand what is a WhatsApp API, right? A lot of people would be using WhatsApp for their personal use. And some of them might also be aware of WhatsApp as a business app, right? Where you get some capabilities as to add, you can add your catalog, right? You can add your business details, you can do multiple logins, but which is also very limited. Now, there's a third branch of business in WhatsApp, which is a WhatsApp API. For example, a brand which is growing would rather prefer a WhatsApp API than a WhatsApp business. For example, you can automate a lot for this stuff. For example, you can integrate your CRMs using a WhatsApp API, which you cannot do like with a WhatsApp business, right? You can do like a shared inbox where you can create like a help desk or a support platform using WhatsApp. You can log in with multiple or a number of devices with the WhatsApp API versus business. And the list goes on. So the WhatsApp API is actually very beneficial for a company which is growing at a massive scale. So this is what is WhatsApp API. Now you can't just go to Meta and say, I need your WhatsApp API. You only can get it from an official reseller. And Vati is one of those Meta official resellers, right? At the point when we started, there were a handful of them. Now you might have a plenty of small and big such API providers. So this is what a WhatsApp API is, and we are a capability based on a WhatsApp API. Now coming back to what Vati is, so Vati is an API which has certain infra on that API where you can use as a full-fledged service. It can be, like a monthly plan or a yearly plan. But what will happen is that you don't just get an API, you also get capabilities on top of it. For example, you get an easy dashboard where you can check all the analytics, how much you have sent, what all is happening, what are workflows. You can create like these drag and drop workflows which are very simple to make. You can automate all of your conversations, right? So this is what Vati does. So technically we are just a conversational engagement platform, and it's all based out of API.
But a really integral part of what people are looking to do, especially when they're trying to expand their capabilities within a space that people are familiar with, right? Because everyone knows about the traditional things like, oh, let's do email outreach or LinkedIn outreach or phone calls. But I think one of the platforms that people aren't necessarily maximizing is the ability to contact potential sales prospects or customers via something like WhatsApp, which is must be one of the most popular and most used apps across the entire world considering its global reach, right? So I think it's really important. And I think as people start to realize WhatsApp as this platform for more business usage, understanding that there's these API options is going to be really important. And also understanding that you have to have an authorized team like Wadi.io managing it. It's not like you can just go do it yourself. It's going to be really important. So I appreciate the background. I want to switch over from what you guys are doing more from a basic level and talk a little bit more about how your clients are finding you. So maybe you can talk first about what sort of clients or companies are or industries are you serving best, and what's the most typical problems that you're solving for them?
Perfect. So I'll just talk about first the products as to what we have, and then that will give a very much clarity on what kind of industries would be fit to use Vati, right? For example, WhatsApp can be used in multiple ways. Now, one thing why one should use WhatsApp is very obvious. It has a very high engagement rate. The open rates are almost 4x of that of an email to 2.5 that of an SMS. So it has the highest engagement. So one thing for sure is if you want to reach to your masses or if you want to engage, that's the best platform. Now, industries can use it in a multiple way. For example, there are use cases where people use it for marketing. For example, they can broadcast their offers, and then there is a button where they can directly buy all of those stuff. They can, showcase their catalog. There is a payment option directly. Everything is using that. So that's like a marketing stack. If you want to increase your marketing sales revenues, more of a B2C concept, you can like set up your e-commerce store and you can do all of that. So if you are e-commerce or if you sell any services there, go ahead. You can use WhatsApp for that. Another use case which is very interesting nowadays, people also using it for sales. By sales I mean more of a like a B2B use case, where for example if you have an SDR, so right from getting a lead, where there is a thing called CTM ads, which is like you run ads on Google or you run ads on Meta, and then it will automatically redirect you to WhatsApp. Now you get the lead of the person, you are now actively engaging with that person, and after that uh, I'm sorry, is the background
No, you're totally fine. Don't worry about it.
okay? Oh man, I don't know what almost started to happen, but this is really disturbing. Really. So this is what. So the B2B use case is nothing, but you can auto assign it. It will act like a CRM. So you can auto assign who is assigned the SDR and how early is he approaching to the client. You can also send follow-up emails as to if you have a demo, then the client gets the follow-up emails or the reminders on WhatsApp itself. So your show up rate increases. That's more like a B2B use case. The third use case, which has very recently came out, is like a support use case, where lot of these big e-commerce giants or anyone who has this support platform, mostly the consumer facing ones, where consumers are a bit shy on sending an email as a support, right? They usually prefer calling. Of course, calling is very expensive. You need more people. So now WhatsApp is the best way out, right? They can easily go to WhatsApp, they click on it, then the support gets logged in, and then the company or the brand can easily manage their support use case. So we also have like CSAT scores and everything, and you can track how fast your resolution time is, all of that. So it has all of these use cases, and according to this, all of the industries can actually use this. It's a very big
Of
use
course.
case in
Of
healthcare.
course, but what I see is, at least in my perspective, as someone who hasn't really thought about utilizing WhatsApp within kind of these multiple business aspects, specifically to me is the customer support aspect of it. I think you're totally right. Oh, send an email, maybe you'll get a customer response, within 24 hours confirming that your ticket has been submitted or something like that. It's very basic. But knowing that you kind of have this one-on-one direct line to the customer support team through WhatsApp almost feels a little bit more personal and makes you feel like you're getting a little bit better support. And at least for me, that's something that I would feel really happy about as a customer. And I can imagine, like you said, one of these enterprise level, customer facing B2C type brands would probably be loving it for that support type of use case. Is that right?
Exactly, exactly. I think this is also what we are seeing right now. A lot of these brands use us because all of a sudden, when they were emailing these offers, when they were, reaching out via other means, they were seeing the open rates or the engagements much lesser compared to WhatsApp. It's cheaper as well. So everything combined. it's better to adopt WhatsApp compared to any other platform, is why
Mm. I
brands do
think
that.
if there was any sort of business out there that just said, okay, we're going to send you some follow-up information. Do you want that in a text message? Do you want that in an email? Do you want that in WhatsApp? I can totally see a large chunk of that population saying, "Oh, just send it through WhatsApp." One, because it's cheaper, and two, because it's much more convenient. So that's great. I want to move on to what you guys are doing a little bit more from a marketing perspective. So maybe you can tell us, with some of the clients you're getting now, how are they finding out about you? Like, how are you spreading the name of Wati.io? And what are some of the top acquisition channels for you guys at the moment?
So definitely we were experimenting with a lot of channels. We are active on LinkedIn, Reddit, uh, on social medias like Facebook and then Google. But out of all these channels, we have found out that usually people search for such services. And they primarily might not search for like a WhatsApp API. They might not be aware of that word, but they would write something like, automate my WhatsApp or send
Mhm.
bulk broadcast or all of these services. So our main or primary acquisition channel comes out to be a search based ads.
Mm.
So most of our budget goes there. And then of course there will be some awareness ads when it comes to, for example, a lot of people don't know there is a thing called API. So these kind of ads where we are just spreading awareness, something where we use social media with display inventories or creatives that talk about this.
Yeah, it can be a little bit of a technical hurdle for people that might not understand,
Yeah.
things like what is the term API and what does it mean to, kind of create these connections between multiple systems. So, yeah, I would imagine during some of these brand awareness things, you need to use more casual or more frequently used language, instead of this high level technical terms. Um, in terms of these clients, when they reach your website, how are you ultimately getting them to convert? Or let me actually ask that in a different way. What role does the website play in terms of client acquisition? Because I know that you said organic search tends to be one of the biggest channels for driving people towards the website. But once they get there, what are you guys doing to make sure that they convert?
So of course, I mean, Vati provides two such options. Um, as you also said, right, a lot of people might not know what WhatsApp API is, what are the capabilities, and on top of it, why should they adopt for Vati versus other competitors, right? So, basis that, whenever you open our website, you will find two options, right? You can either sign up for a free trial where you can go into the platform, you can send some outreach, you can see how the platform looks like, how shaky it is, if there are some things you can be help of, right? All of those things you can see, or else you can also get on a demo with our sales team who can help you see if WhatsApp API will actually make sense for your business. So these are the two options via which a consumer or a customer or a prospect can understand if it is fit for their business or not. So definitely website plays a very important role. Most of the landing pages also that we construct are very much around spreading awareness and making people know what is API, helping them understand how they'll help their how it will help in their business. And that is why we have also segregated now the services in marketing, support, and sales. Earlier, it was not the case. Just to make it more palatable. But website definitely plays a vital role, and to reduce friction, we have a free trial, and then we also give an option to hop on a demo to understand the product better.
Yeah, having those multiple conversion goals is definitely going to help. And I think, at least for myself, yeah, scheduling a demo to figure out, is this the best thing for my business, and letting the team kind of make some sort of an assessment is probably the way that at least I would go. I want to shift the conversation a little bit away from the business and a little bit more towards Pranav as the marketing professional. And so maybe let's start with something easy. I know that PathMonk is all about conversions, right? And so I want to ask you, in your opinion, as a marketing professional, what makes a great converting website? Like, what types of tools or tips or tricks would you typically recommend to someone?
So I think a website should have the first fold is super important, and I feel like you can make the landing page longer, etc., but the first fold should actually connect with the prospect. And if you're running an ad, or if there is an SEO via which he is landing on a website, there should be a coherence between an ad or what he saw during clicking versus what he saw after he clicked on the landing page and the page opened. So I think that's primary. So invest like 60-70% of your time just making the first fold much better and much where it is maneuverable. For example, all our landing pages you will see will have container jumpers. What do I mean by that is you can jump on the containers of those landing pages via the menu bar. So menu bar might have like a pricing as a container, or like a trial, or the CTS, the primary CTS as a container, or why should they actually use Wati. So these kind of containers, they just click and then the page jumps to that specific information. Testimonials, for example, is one of those container jumpers. So I think that's very important for a brand to implement that on the landing page. I think another portion is definitely a video helps. For example, a brand where the awareness is important is either niche or something which is new or something which a lot of people might have queries with. Explainer video is a must. So these are some of the things I think you should have. Definitely now coming to like customer testimonials or all of the awards and recognitions that you have is always a must, right? Case studies or the impact numbers help too. But I think primarily if you invest a lot on the first fold, it's the 80-20 rule, right? That 20% of your page would give the 80% of the impact. So I think that's there. Coming to the tools, I guess the favorite or the most common tech stack is definitely GA4. GA4 I think serves most of the purpose. It is really nice. You can really jack it up and create all these custom conversions, custom reportings. So it is really nice. And then you can, if you have like Google ads or Facebook ads, you can integrate it seamlessly. And then there are a lot of information that you can integrate via your CRM to your GA4 to your platforms. And then it creates like a cohesive report where you can see everything under one roof. I think then GA4 for the general traffic awareness and analytics. And I think one of the tools that I use, which is also free, is MS Clarity. It's nothing but like a behavioral analytics tools, right? There are other tools too, for example, Hotjar. But MS Clarity is something which I think is not that expensive and serves the purpose well. It has all of the heat maps and are there any rage clicks that are happening? So you can do your CRLs very well. I have like got so many insights from just MS Clarity using the free tool that it has actually increased my conversion rates by 50-60%. So up to that. So MS Clarity is actually really nice. I think
Excellent
those two,
job.
yeah, those two would definitely help you go a long road. I think that's mostly it for the landing pages. You don't need any other tool. We generally don't use any other.
I think that's some awesome advice that any of our listeners might be able to take and use on their own website. Moving on to the next question, I wanted to ask, in terms of like what your day-to-day looks like, right, as growth marketing manager, what are some of the typical tasks that you're handling on a regular basis?
So definitely day starts with aligning with the team as to what are our priorities, how we can make the current numbers better, and for that there are certain dashboards we have in place. So we regularly see how were we performing yesterday versus today. I'm a person who likes to see data every day. Compared to there are a lot of marketers which I see usually look into the weekly or the monthly data. I feel like looking the data every day actually for some matter actually helps improve the data. This might be maybe an orthodox or something, but this generally I've seen. So the day starts with looking at the data, aligning with the team, and then a lot of calls are around what to position, right? How to position if there is a new service that we need to implement, right? And if there are any new automations that we need to do, what kind of, so for example, we are also into now new geographies. So how to open the new geographies? I think those kind of conversations we have like almost every 2 days we have a call on that specific geography. we have the sales call with them, and then we understand how are we progressing on it. So it's mostly communicating and managing and implementing, and then also gauging the results. I think most of the day went there.
It sounds definitely like a busy day. And yeah, I can definitely say data is king nowadays, right? So being able to understand the data is honestly just going to end up informing any of your strategic decisions anyway. So it does make sense to make sure that you're checking up on it on a daily basis. Um, in terms of the next question, which is again kind of focusing on you as the marketing individual, I want to be a little bit more personal and ask, we're all trying to grow and learn and stay up to date and ultimately try to improve upon ourselves. And there's lots of different places that you can go in terms of consuming content to kind of, find a podcast that you like listening to, or read a book, or I don't know, watch some YouTube videos that help explain something. But where do you go to kind of learn and stay up to date and improve upon yourself?
Sure. So I think I might sound a bit old school, but newsletters still work for me. I think with this busy world, with all the things that we have to do, me going to a website and then reading is actually a little bit tough. So I prefer newsletters. So I have, opted for all these, at least the top PPC and the growth marketing newsletters. One such as like Optimizer, really nice. PPC
Hmm.
Hero can be another example. So you can find such growth marketing newsletters out there. You just type it on Google. So I think newsletter works really well for me. So I have a habit where I just check my emails. Most of the conversations are via Slack. So even my email reading habits are not that great. But I just spend 5 minutes. I just read around the newsletter. I see what's updated, and most before that, I think the most old school or the most basic way should be you opted into the newsletters of Google Ads, Facebook Ads, and all of these dashboards, right? They give you the platform new
Hmm.
feature updates. That's one. Then of course the PPC newsletters, and the third, which I very recently found out but is really nice, is Reddit. So Reddit has all these communities for PPC. It's really, really interesting. A lot of these people have found out really hacky ways to, do like a growth marketing of B2B, and how they have, scaled down from like a 10,000 to like a million or a 10 million ARR. How are they finding such clients? How automations work? All of those things. So I think Reddit, if you will just go out there, just search anything random related to growth marketing on Reddit, you will see n number of subreddits where you can then start following and seeing, and you can also create like a community there. So Reddit, I think, is something that a lot of PPC people don't go to, but I think Reddit would definitely help. The last bit.
I would totally agree. I think Reddit is one of these underutilized and maybe underappreciated sources of information, because ultimately what you're getting is just help from other people that have probably dealt with the same problems that you're typing about, right? And so to be able to not just see multiple opinions within the same topic, but also from other people that have been dealing with the same issue. It can often be really helpful, and it's not just, one person. You Google something and you see one result and you assume that's the right answer, right? But on Reddit, maybe there are multiple people providing multiple perspectives and multiple solutions to the same problem that you're dealing with. So yeah, I really don't think that enough people give Reddit kind of the appreciation that it deserves.
Right.
Okay, I want to move on to the final section of the conversation. As we head towards the end here, what we're looking for is kind of like short, crisp, concise answers as we're now in the rapid fire round. So it's the final four questions of the day. They're going to be a little bit more fun, a little bit more thought-provoking, but a little less business oriented. So so feel free to just have some fun with it and give us kind of like the first thing that comes to your mind. So
Sure.
question number one. If you have been reading any books, what's the last book that you read?
So one of the books is very, I mean, it's not related to marketing, but it's Forest of Enchantments by Chitra Banerjee Devakaruni. She's an Indian writer, and it's very, very interesting to understand the perspective of a female. So there is a mythological character Ram in India, and Ramayana is around that character. It's very famous. A lot of people, have spiritual this with Ram as well. So that book actually helps us understand what's the perspective of like Sita, who is
Mm.
wife of Ram. So how she deals with all of these things. So from a very woman perspective, and in such awe with that book that I've actually gifted 10 of my friends that book. So that's one
I'll
great.
have to add it to my list. If you're going to be raving about it this much, I'll add it to my own wish list for sure.
Fantastic. It's changed how I see women and how my
N-
thoughts about it.
Next question. If there were no boundaries in technology, and I mean you could snap your fingers, it's magic, anything is possible, what would be one thing that you would want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Hmm. I think one such issue that I am currently solving, it's super complicated, is the attribution.
Hmm.
I feel like when you're scaling that high and when you are multi-channeled, attributing or giving the right attribution to each of these channels is very important and very tough. I think if I would have that power, I think just getting these dashboards where I can see how in each of the step which channel is getting attributed and which.
A magic dashboard where you can see where did they first hear about you, what did they click on, even if they were told by a friend or something, like whatever it is, to be able to magically attribute the entire journey that each and every single person has, would be awesome. But I don't think we're quite there yet. But maybe just give it a couple of years. AI is growing at a crazy rate. You never know. That might be right around the corner. Next question. If there was one repetitive task that you could automate out of, I'm sure, lots of repetitive tasks that you have, what would be the one that you would want to have fully automated for yourself?
So definitely like reporting was something that was repetitive. Now it has been solved. I think data hygiene and in general checking if the workflows are doing fine or not
Hmm.
is something, it's a bit repetitive sometimes, all of a sudden we come to know this workflow is not working. I think data hygiene is something which is very repetitive, which I'm in plans of automating or at least have certain alerts to see that, but that's one.
Good answer. And lastly, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Right. So interestingly, when I started marketing, I was more of a tech guy and I approached marketing in a very tech way. And then I realized there is no playbook in marketing. Like
Mm.
there is nothing like a code in marketing. There is no structure in marketing. So sooner or later, I realized it's nothing but you assume something, then you implement that assumption, and then you check for deviations versus what you assume versus what the actual is, and then you reiterate on it. So it is nothing but like A/B testing all your life. I think
Always.
that is something that came as I got into the experience of marketing, which uh, which I should tell like somebody should always be curious. If you are into the marketing domain, you should be just curious about assuming things and then implementing. So I think that being curious is one thing that I would
That's
definitely.
a really good piece of advice. So, Pranav, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate having you on the show. This was an awesome conversation. But before you go, why don't you give us just one last statement? What is Wati.io and how can they find you?
Yes, so Wati.io is a customer engagement platform. You can just type out Wati.io or you can just type Wati on Google and you will find us. And then you can book a demo with us or do a free trial, whatever is convenient to you. And I'll see you on the sales call.
Awesome. Thanks for the time, Pranav. Have a nice day.
You too, man. Thank you so much, Kevin. Bye.